Going into our second match now between Ryders and the Skyborne, going into Periton Rumble. This is the second round of our round robin. We saw the Skyborne last round on the last match going down to Team Predators. Let's see how they do against the Ryders. First off, for red team, we have the Duck Duck Goose. They are a Watch-A-Fish piloted by Nano Duckling, left side light carronade, right side Gatling gun. Their ally is the D Sandwich. That's vaguely suggestive. I don't. Piloted by Finks. This is an interesting build here, actually. Center light carronade for the Smobula. Gatling Artemis on the inner wings with two more Artemis. This is definitely an interesting Mobula build. I'm not quite sure I've seen anything like this. But we will go over the Skyborne's build. First off, we have the Sweet Victor Fish, piloted by Sunstrom. It is the aforementioned heavy carronade goldfish, flamethrowers on either side. Their ally, Black Gold Saw, piloted by Legato Blue Summers. So it looks like Baron B. Aaron actually picking up a wrench for this match, no longer the captain. But this gun, Hwacha line gun on all sides with a flamethrower on the rear. And it looks like Black Gold Saw is going to be boosting forward. They're going to try to get those Hwachas into arc. But the D Sandwich has infinite Artemis rocket slings. So they're going to lose all those lion guns, and that's going to be a bad spot for the Black Gold Saw. Sweet Victor Fish is going to need to change. Hell, they're going to need to do something, losing their heavy carronade in the process. But they might get a big ram from the D Sandwich. D Sandwich just barely scraping over the top of that building. Sweet Victor Fish not able to pursue. The Black Gold Saw is going to be dropping down. It looks like they lost their balloon to the light carronade of the Mobula. And this is a spot from which I'm not sure how they will be able to escape. They have no guns. They only have two engines up. But this is also a very difficult spot for the Duck Duck Goose to be able to secure a kill. It's a very kind of awkward, tight corridor. Not easy to get a ram kill here. So it looks like they're going to back off a little bit. Just take another Hwacha barrage. Bumping a little bit against the bridge. I find that this is a spot where a lot of Periton fights end up happening for whatever reason. I guess it's kind of along one of the main avenues of the map. But it's such an awkward spot to fight in. You see they're just going to continue to bounce against all this stuff and not going to be able to maintain their gun arcs or get any solid rams. But it looks like with the Black Gold Saw disabled, they're going to disengage and move to support their ally versus the Sweet Victor Fish. And this is a bad spot for the Victor Fish. We're going to see some Gatlings coming out from the D Sandwich. If they can time the Hwacha well on the Duck Duck Goose. Looks like they're not going to have arcs, but Sweet Victor Fish is going to try to get away, but the map is not going to be kind to them as they're going to bump against the bridge, and it's tough to get out of here. They're going to have to do a slow turnaround so they can line up and then reverse. Or maybe they're going to go forward. Maybe they're going to try to go for the ram on the D Sandwich. Now that the Duck Duck Goose has, let me spin around here, been distracted by the Galleon, this has maybe lended an opportunity for an equal fight for the Victor Fish, although the Victor Fish going for a ram and sailing right over. Not quite sure about that decision. Flamers are going to come out. And with both these ships having blenders, it looks like Victor Fish is going to get the better of the Mobula and try to go for a ram. Unfortunately, when you have blender versus blender fight, having a lot of damage on your own balloon will make it very difficult to descend and crush your target, which is what we saw from the Victor Fish there. Not able to drop fast enough to get the kill. And now the Duck Duck Goose is going to be coming back in with the Hwacha, taking down the guns. Mobula is going to rise up to safety. Now the Artemis are going to be coming back into effect. And with those Artemis, it's going to be very difficult for the Victor Fish to keep that front heavy carronade into arc. This might be the end for the Victor Fish with the Gatling taking down the armor, Hwacha doing a lot of damage, and a final tap from the Mobula taking down the blue goldfish. That whole fight, that was a hell of a scramble. Just everyone bouncing everywhere. Nobody able to get any solid kills, and now the Galleon has decided to move in, see if they can do whatever damage they can do, which is not going to be much with this Hwacha taking down all their guns and their whole armor. Oh, actually keeping up one of the Hwachas. I imagine a well-timed mallet from one of those lower deck engineers. And Sweet Victor Fish actually getting a really close spawn here. If the red ships are not careful about their positioning, they don't want to be above one of these half-height buildings, because if their balloon goes down, be careful where you fall, friend. They could potentially find themselves dead, although it looks like Black Gold saw falling behind these two skyscrapers. Another awkward spot for all these ships to be fighting. But the Hwacha is going to finish the Galleon off, being so heavily damaged. And Sweet Victor Fish, even though they had that really close spawn and they had the element of surprise, not able to secure any fast kills. And probably going to be going down themselves here in short order. With the Gatlings coming out, the Hwacha coming out, grinding against the building, nowhere for them to escape. Finks doing a good job navigating this Mobula in these fights that are taking place in these very tight corridors. That's not an easy thing to do. And really in the Goldfish as well. It's just such a long ship. It has such a weird, awkward hitbox. Oh, I wonder if they're predicting these spawns. You see D Sandwich moving into the edge of the map. I think they know they've predicted that the Galleon has spawned in this spot, and he's a little isolated from his ally. This is premonition from Team Predators. A very impressive display of map knowledge here. The Galleon is totally isolated. They have no guns, they have no balloon, but they do have a lot of health because they are a Galleon, so they might be able to buy enough time for the Victor Fish to turn the tide of this fight if they can stay alive. Duck Duck Goose, balloon going out. D Sandwich actually going to keep their balloon. Ram from the Sweet Victor Fish actually going to bump D Sandwich into the Duck Duck Goose, or maybe over them. They might be able to... Oh! Just punting them into that building and dying without actually needing a second impact. I was actually surprised that the Mobula went down there. Especially with the Sweet Victor Fish taking so much balloon damage. And now the Duck Duck Goose, like this seemed like a really smart play from the Predators, but not able to kill the Galleon fast enough. And now with no engines, Duck Duck Goose is going to slowly drift into this building and lose all their forward momentum. Moonshining, desperately trying to get away. But I feel like the Victor Fish is going to catch them on the way out. Yeah, that's going to be, well, sailing a little over with that ram, but I think, yeah, the Hwacha from the Galleon is going to finish them off. D Sandwich is like, whatever, dude, I'm just going to hang out over here. You're on your own, man. So, actually, the start of maybe a comeback for the Skyborne. It seemed like the songwriters had a very strong hold on the match, but that last fight not going in their favor. Maybe pursuing the Galleon a little too aggressively. Because Galleons just can be so tanky. They can take even if you have two ships, they can take a very long time to actually secure that kill. So D Sandwich, it looks like both teams are going to be moving forward into the center of the map. I think they have spotted the galleon because you do see D Sandwich maintaining arcs. And a spot going down on the Victorfish as well. Duck Duck Goose actually getting stuck on the opposite side, taking a little bit of a bump against the center terrain. They really need to get in this fight if they can. Heavy Carronade is going to be coming out from the Victorfish, and once the balloon goes down on the D Sandwich, they could die very quickly. This Mobula is already taking a ton of damage, popping a drogue chute, trying to stay in the air. You don't want to land on those spikes. Duck Duck Goose coming in with, oh, bouncing. He's bouncing back, punting him into this building, and then the Victorfish bouncing off, actually bringing their Heavy Carronade back into arc. D Sandwich, he's got a little bit of balloon. He's gonna hydro out to safety, and the Victorfish has now found himself in a very bad spot, and he's absolutely going to be smashed to death here. No way he escapes from this. Just that ricochet is bouncing off like rubber, and now the Gold Saw. He's managing to eke out a Hwacha volley here, but those Artemis are going to be extremely oppressive for him. He's going to try to flip to the other side. I imagine his left side Hwachas are still up, at least for the moment. And there they go. No guns for the Galleon. He's going to start rising to the height ceiling so that maybe he can escape and also give a cleaner path for his ally to rejoin the fight. And he's going to take a little bit of damage here as he retreats, but I think he's going to stay alive. Sweet Victorfish actually messing up this re-engagement. But looks like they will finally get the Heavy Carronade into arc as their ally dies, and they lose the game. So we do have a 5-2 victory for the Songwriters versus the Skyborne. The next map in this 2-game series is going to be Fight Over Fernfeld, a much more open map. We'll see how these teams decide to adjust their tactics. Game 2 between the Skyborne and the Songwriters. Moving into Fight Over Fernfeld. In contrast to the previous map, this one is much more open, lends itself to a lot of longer range play. So we'll see how the teams decide to approach this map. But first off, for the Skyborne, we have Black Gold Saw, the same Galleon we saw last game, but a little different spice, piloted by Legato Blue Summers. They have double Lumberjack on the left side, paired with an Artemis, double Hwacha for the right side, rear flare gun. Their ally is Sweet Victorfish. Oh, come on, Sunstrom. Come on, man. I thought we had something. Hwacha on the front, left side Gatling, right side Light Carronade. Even the strongest among us will fall eventually to the scourge of Lion Gun OP. And for the Songwriters, we have the Killing feature, piloted by Finks. It is a Disable Squid, Light Carronade front, Flamer on the right side, rear Banshee. And their partner in crime, the Duck Duck Goose, Heavy Carronade Goldfish, piloted by Nano Duckling, Light Carronade on the left, Flamethrower on the right. Blue team is separating here, going for a disjointed attack. Both of them staying low to obscure spotting, but I think the red team sees them now. I wonder how they're going to choose to react if they continue moving forward. If the Black Gold Saw, it looks like they're going to engage Duck Duck Goose with the Lumberjacks, and we might actually see some Hwachas coming out the right side as well if Killing feature gets too close. Lumber's going a little wide here. Not actually able to get a balloon disable on the Duck Duck Goose. In the meantime, the Killing feature is zoned out by the Hwachas. Black Gold Saw making good use of the dual nature of this Galleon. And Sweet Victorfish there as well, to keep the Killing feature from getting too close Duck Duck Goose going to be moving in, dodging those lumberjacks, actually able to get into close range without taking very much balloon damage. This is very good for the blue goldfish, as the black gold saw is potentially going to land on this mountain and start taking impact damage. The ships all kind of congealing together here for whatever reason. The Duck Duck Goose is going to be backing up. He's going to try to extricate himself from this mass, at the same time taking down the balloon of the victor fish. So we have blenders for both these blue ships, but we don't have a lot of DPS, so any kill, especially on this galleon, is going to take a while. They're going to have to ride it all the way to the floor of the map, which means they're just not fast kills, and at the same time they need to stay alive in the face of the victor fish. This is also on the map edge, which may impact the flight path of some of these ships. You can actually see it blocking my camera a little bit. Duck Duck Goose gonna be dropping here. It looked like he might have gone for might have wanted to go for a stomp, but actually backing out. Doesn't want to get disabled by the watch of the victor fish. So, not... Watch is going to be coming out from Black Gold Saw. Yeah, it looks like the Songwriter's doing a good job of just riding the Skyborne down to the bottom of the map. This is definitely where they want to be with the double blender. And now they can actually start doing real damage with the balloon of the victor fish going down. They're grinding against the ground. And Duck Duck Goose, it looks like they don't want to actually go for the kill. Instead, they're going to be dodging the watches from the Black Gold Saw. I really feel like they should have taken that opportunity and finished off the victor fish. Even if they took a little damage in the process, it would have been worth it. Because now, like, they're still taking those watches and they don't have a point to show for it. At the same time, the killing feature is slowly grinding away the Black Gold Saw. The flamethrower doing a bit of damage, but it's a slow burn, as it were. We'll check back in on them later, I suppose. And these two fish dueling it out. Victor Fish has managed to get closer to the flight ceiling. That's where he wants to be versus a carronade. But Duck Duck Goose is going to bring him back down, and looks like he's actually going to use that to his advantage to maybe get the squid off of his ally. No? Looks like, yeah, he's going to continue fighting with the Duck Duck Goose instead of helping his friend. Well, there goes the Hwacha, finally turning his attention to the killing feature. Maybe trying to give his ally a moment's reprieve, but it's too late. The galleon's just been sitting in the oven for the past 5 minutes, and it's finally done. And now the sweet victor fish has no hope. Going to fall into the fjords eventually. After they get this kill, it's possible that the Songwriters continue to ride into red spawn, maybe try to find the galleon, because they are positioned fairly close to the spawn points for red team. It looks like galleon's going to take the southmost spawn, which is very smart, and he's running away. He just needs to stay alive long enough for his ally to respawn as well, because he does not want to take a 2v1 fight. So we'll probably see Songwriters move north, because that is... well, no, maybe if actually they might be able to... Yeah, they're going to see the galleon here, so... They could potentially chase him down, but... The sweet victor fish has already spawned back in, so it will be another even fight. Duck Duck Goose actually turning to face the enemy team. Looks like Songwriter's formation is getting a little disrupted here. But they are going to regroup back up. They know they're splitting up, actually. They're going to go for another disjointed attack from two sides. We've been seeing a lot of that today. A lot of flanks, a lot of pincer maneuvers. And it's been working pretty well for the teams who've employed it. Let's see if we get some lumberjacks here, because that was really one of the big problems with the last fight. Is the Black Gold saw they do have these long range weapons, but they were not getting the hits they needed, which allowed the Duck Duck Goose to engage unimpeded. This time they're going to be a little annoying to the killing feature, but he is going to drop behind terrain, not taking any permanent damage. But they need to lumber one of these blue ships down. Duck Duck Goose hydroing up, or maybe using stamina to dodge those lumbers. And yeah, just no real balloon damage coming out of the Black Gold Saw. This is... Oh, well, here we go. Lumbers coming in. Just barely not able to take down the Duck Duck Goose's balloon. At the same time, the killing feature has chosen this moment to engage. Oh, this is really smart positioning from the killing feature. Actually staying on the opposite side of the galleon, which is blocking the Sweet Victor Fish's Hwacha barrage. But it looks like he's decided to pass the baton to his ally. He's going to drop down for a moment, let the Duck Duck Goose get some heavy carronade shots in. Hwacha coming out, not actually disabling the heavy carronade on the Duck Duck Goose. Not a solid hit from the Victor Fish, but I think the double Hwacha, like, yeah, that one barrage wasn't so great, but we've got two more Hwachas primed and ready to go. So Duck Duck Goose now totally disabled. The killing feature is going to have to make something happen. They're dropping down for some reason. I'm not sure why they're choosing to not engage. They're kind of leaving their ally high and dry here. Armor on the Duck Duck Goose is going down, lagging a little bit. Watch is going to come out, doing about 50% permahull to the Duck Duck Goose. Killing feature moving up, choosing to re-engage the galleon. I need to stabilize my connection really quick. But both these ships currently, nobody's really doing a lot of damage. I feel like the Hwachas are definitely getting the better of the fight. One sec here. All right, there we go. We should be good to go now. Killing feature now going high. We see both teams splitting off into separate engagements. And this is really where you want to be. If you have two blenders, you want to be in a spot. You want to have those one-on-one fights, because the heavy carronade can be extremely dominant in that type of a battle. All you really need is one good balloon disable to knock out the enemy's arcs permanently. So we have the Black Gold Saw using their lumbers. Duck Duck Goose pursuing into arming range, so they're not going to do a lot of damage. At the same time, the killing feature and the Sweet Victor Fish are, I don't know, doing stuff over there. Flame's going to come out in the Black Gold Saw. It looks like we're probably going to see a balloon disable. Flamer actually doing a lot of balloon damage here. Ooh, no, actually, Duck Duck Goose having to dodge in the face of the double Hwacha coming back into arc. And they might disengage to go help their ally once they have their engines back up. You know, killing feature at the same time having a little bit of trouble here. The light carronade on the side of the Victor Fish being put to good use here, limiting the vertical acceleration of the killing feature. And killing feature just looks like not really able to do a whole lot in this fight. Lumber is going to be coming out, hitting the Duck Duck Goose, taking out their balloon. and killing feature, he's going to try to zoom on past that Hwacha. But that's fine. The Victor Fish is just going to use on the Duck Duck Goose instead. But that's finally given the killing feature an opportunity to bring that light carronade into use. But not really doing much damage. Hwacha's going to come out, take out the whole armor of the killing feature. But they're going to be able to Hydra to safety, more or less. This is kind of a dirtly match. Like, nobody's really killing anyone, and like occasionally there are Hwachas that do stuff, but you know, the thing is though, during all of this, since the blue team had that extremely dominant first fight, they are up 2 points, so like the longer they draw out the match, I mean, even if, well, I guess that's the end of what I was going to say, but as long as they draw out the match without giving up any kills like they just did there, they have the point advantage, so they will win the they will, so even if they're unable to secure kills on the enemy team, as long as they don't die themselves, they can still win the game, but it's going to be much harder to do now that they've already given up one, and the killing feature is sitting at half perma-hull health. Wow, my voice already starting to give out a little bit. Not a good sign. Considering we're only halfway through the day, but it looks like we are going to have an engagement from the Duck Duck Goose. Heavy carronades coming out. Not actually able to get the balloon disable in time before the Hwacha. Very unfortunate for the Duck Duck Goose, but killing feature might be able to come in and finish it off. Except the light carronade is a bad weapon, so they're not actually able to get the balloon disable and lose the balloon themselves to the Galleon's lumbers. Oh god, Finks, why must you insist on bringing this carronade flamer squid? Those pretty much the two worst guns in the game, on what is arguably the worst ship in the game. But Hwacha coming out, Duck Duck Goose barely able to dodge, but the lumbers going to keep the Duck Duck Goose locked down and continue pegging away. Duck Duck Goose is desperately trying to moonshine, but they've lost one of their engines to the Artemis. And they've taken so much perma-hull health damage that if their balloon goes down again, they might die. But it looks like killing feature is going to distract the Galleon enough, knock out their lumber arcs. They've dropped onto the mountain here, taking a bit of impact damage. They're going to go for a ram, but the armor is going to be rebuilt, so they're not going to be able to secure a kill. And Sweet Victor Fish might... No. Killing feature just barely able to dodge that ram. Duck Duck Goose really needs to take this opportunity to get back into the fight when the lumbers... Before the lumbers start to come back in and oppress them again. Flamer's coming out. Sweet Victor Fish is dropping down. It looks like he's going to try to stomp the killing feature, but again is going to miss as Sphinx Hydra is out. You know, these attempted rams from the Victor Fish, I feel like maybe he should just... Sphinx is very good at dodging stuff like that, so perhaps it's not the best strategy to employ. Maybe instead just try to get your guns in arc, because, you know, once you've shut them down with the Hwacha, that's the time to go for a ram. If a squid has working engines, don't try to ram them. You need to take them out first, and the Duck Duck Goose is going to take a ton of damage from this Hwacha. They're still going to go for the ram because they found this opportunity where they might be able to kill the Black Gold Saw. They're going to back into the... No, they're going to clip through this gun. Apparently this gun does not have geometry. And because of that, they're going to go down. But Sweet Victor Fish taking a bit of damage from the killing feature. But I don't think the killing feature with the guns they've decided to employ is going to be able to get a fast enough kill. Watches are going to come out, forcing to kill the feature back, zoning them out. Well, they might have a small window of opportunity here to kill this red goldfish if they can land a solid ram, knock out their balloon. Balloon is out on the victor fish. Yeah. The galleon, though, they can't. They just do not have enough time to kill the goldfish while the galleon is still around. And now, sitting here at the flight ceiling, very low health. They do have their engines, so they could probably juke around, dodge this galleon. As the Duck Duck Goose now picks up the flag on the victor fish, dodging the watches again. See, look at that. Like, they had a damaged... the balloon on the victor fish was already damaged. They were coming up from behind, from their blind angle. They had a full clip of light carronade and were not able to take out the balloon. Like, that's so lame. Muse, buff light carronade, please. And for their troubles, they're going to get a Hwacha, taking down most of their engines. Duck Duck Goose now going to leave the Black Gold Saw at the floor of the map, come up to help their ally take down the victor fish. They need to start bringing down this oppressive carronade wall again. They need to force the red ships to the bottom of the map. Oh! Squid actually landing on the galleon and dying. Very unfortunate. Because with that means the Skyborne has now taken the point lead. And Duck Duck Goose is again going to be left on their own. Galleon is going to use this opportunity to bring the Lumberjacks back into Arc. And here comes Killing Feature. Let's see if he can get anything done. I'm not sure he's going to be able to. Sorry, lagging a lot right now. I'm going to try to keep the stream up. It looks like actually the timer is going to hit anyways, just as we get lagged out of the game. Let's see if they can maybe orchestrate a tie, finally taking down the goldfish as all these as all the ships just come to a grinding halt as my internet connection dies just in the nick of time. But the timer has been called, so that is going to be game for both these teams, and is going to end in a tie.